I came home to an empty house on my 17th birthday. Not empty like everyone was out. Empty like they'd never existed. The furniture, the pictures, my mother's coffee mug collection she'd spent 15 years building, gone. Even the curtains had been stripped from the windows. In the middle of the kitchen counter, held down by a salt shaker, was a folded piece of notebook paper. 3 words changed my entire life. You'll figure it out. No explanation. No forwarding address. No phone number. Just those 3 words in my mother's handwriting, and a house that echoed with 13 years of memories that apparently meant nothing. I stood there for 20 minutes, reading those words over and over, waiting for the punchline. This had to be a prank, right? Some twisted birthday surprise where they'd jump out laughing, telling me I should have seen my face. But the closets were empty. The garage was empty. Even the junk drawer that had been crammed full of random batteries and rubber bands for as long as I could remember. Empty. They were gone. My parents and my younger brother, Michael. They'd packed up our entire lives and vanished while I was at school. I need you to understand something. I wasn't a bad kid. I was the good one. The responsible one. The one who picked up the slack. When I was 13, I taught myself to bake from YouTube videos so I could make my mom a birthday cake from scratch. I stayed up until 2 a.m. getting the frosting perfect. When I presented it to her the next morning, she glanced at it and said, "It's lumpy. Store-bought would have been better." Then she went back to her coffee. At 15, my brother Michael was failing 3 classes. I spent 6 weeks tutoring him every night, sacrificing my own study time. He passed his finals. His response? Calling me a know-it-all bitch and slamming his bedroom door in my face when I asked if he wanted help with summer reading. When I was 16, I got my first job at a grocery store. My dad's construction business was struggling. I heard him and my mom fighting about money late at night. So I gave him my entire first paycheck, $347. He took it without saying thank you. 2 weeks later, during another argument about bills, I mentioned it. He exploded, screamed that I was throwing it in his face, that I thought I was better than him, that I was the most ungrateful, useless child he'd ever known. I stopped bringing up the money. I kept giving it anyway. That was our dynamic. I gave. They took. I tried. They criticized. I bent myself into impossible shapes trying to earn their love, and they made it clear, without ever saying it out loud, that I never would. The landlord knocked on the door a week after I found the note. I'd been sleeping on the couch in that empty house, eating the few cans of soup they'd left behind, using my phone's flashlight at night because they'd canceled the electricity. Mr. Chen looked uncomfortable. "Emma, I need you to understand. Your parents gave me no choice. They broke the lease 2 months early. I've been trying to reach them, but their numbers are disconnected." My stomach dropped. "When do I have to leave?" "End of the week, I'm sorry. I have a new tenant moving in Monday." 4 days. I had 4 days to figure out where a 17-year-old with no family, no money, and no explanation goes. I tried calling everyone. My mom's sister, Aunt Linda, let the phone ring through to voicemail 6 times before finally answering. When I told her what happened, there was this long pause. Then she said, "Your mother warned me you might call with some story. She said you've been going through a phase, making up lies about them for attention. That's not... I can't get involved in your family drama, Emma. You need to work this out with your parents." Click. They'd already rewritten the narrative, already poisoned the well. Nobody believed me because nobody wanted to believe them. I stayed with my friend Ashley for 3 nights. Her parents were kind, but made it clear I couldn't stay long. They had their own problems. Then I tried my friend Marcus's place. 2 nights. His mom drove me to school but didn't make eye contact. By the end of week 2, I'd burned through every friendship I had. Nobody wants to take in a teenage girl with family problems. It's too complicated, too risky, too much. I found myself standing outside a storage facility at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, with everything I owned in 2 garbage bags. The attendant was this older guy, probably mid-60s, who didn't ask questions when I paid cash for the smallest unit they had. "Lock's temperamental," he said, demonstrating. "Gotta jiggle it just right." That storage unit became my bedroom. 5 feet by 5 feet of concrete and corrugated metal. I stole a camping mat from the lost and found at school, had 2 blankets I'd saved from the house, and a battery-powered lantern I bought at the dollar store. I was homeless at 17, and I couldn't tell anyone, because being homeless meant social services, meant foster care, meant losing the tiny bit of control I had left over my life. The YMCA became my bathroom. I'd get there at 5:30 a.m. when they opened, shower, brush my teeth, make myself presentable before school. The front desk lady, Gloria, noticed after a week but never said anything. She'd just nod at me, sometimes slide a granola bar across the counter. School was my escape. As long as I showed up, did my homework, kept my grades up, nobody asked questions, I was invisible, which was exactly what I needed to be. Lunch was whatever I could afford from the dollar menu. Dinner was usually peanut butter eaten straight from the jar with a plastic spoon. I lost 15 pounds in the first month. When people noticed, I said I was training for track. Wasn't even on the team, but nobody checked. I applied for jobs on library computers, lying about having a permanent address, used the school as my mailing address, told the office I was helping with administrative work. The secretary, Mrs. Patterson, gave me this knowing look but played along. Most places wouldn't hire me. No work history, no references, still in high school. But there was this 24-hour diner off Route 9, the kind of place with cracked vinyl booths and fluorescent lights that hummed too loud. The night shift manager, a woman named Rita with a raspy voice and nicotine-stained fingers, looked at me for a long time when I came in asking for work. "How old are you? And don't lie." 17. "Where are your parents?" I hesitated. Rita leaned forward. "Kid, I can tell when someone's running from something. Question is, are you running from bad people or are you bad people running from?" She studied my face, then nodded. "Okay, I'll pay you cash under the table until you turn 18 and can do real paperwork. $7 an hour, keep your tips. Night shift, Thursday through Sunday. You show up on time, work hard, don't steal, we're good." I almost cried. "Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This job's gonna kick your ass." She was right. I worked 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., then went straight to the Y to clean up, then to school. I'd sleep in the storage unit from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., wake up disoriented in the dark, and do it all over again. The exhaustion was physical, like walking through water, but I was making money. Real money. By the end of my first month, I had $400 saved. There was this regular at the diner, came in every Saturday at 2 a.m. like clockwork, Mr. Harrison. Always ordered black coffee and apple pie. Always left a $5 tip even though his bill was never more than $8. We'd chat sometimes during slow hours. He asked good questions. Listened to the answers. Never pried about why a high school kid was working graveyard shifts. One night, about 3 months into my time at the diner, he asked what my plans were after graduation. I laughed, bitter and exhausted. "Plans? I'm trying to figure out where I'm sleeping next month." His expression shifted. Not pity, something sharper. Recognition. "You're on your own, aren't you?" I didn't confirm or deny it, just refilled his coffee. "My office is expanding," he said. "We need someone to do filing, data entry, basic office cleaning. It's temporary, maybe 3 months. Pays 18 an hour. Interested?" 18 an hour. More than double what Rita was paying me under the table. "Why are you offering this to me?" Mr. Harrison smiled sadly. "Because 20 years ago, I was you. Sleeping in my car, working 3 jobs, trying to survive. Someone gave me a shot. I'm paying it forward. That temp job changed everything. I graduated high school with a 3.7 GPA and a storage unit full of file boxes. Mr. Harrison's company kept extending my contract. The filing job led to data entry. Data entry led to being the assistant to their operations manager. Every few months, my responsibilities grew. I was a sponge. I asked questions about everything: how the business made money, why certain decisions were made, what separated successful people from everyone else. I read business books from the library. I watched free online courses on my phone. I saved every receipt, tracked every expense, taught myself basic accounting. By 19, I'd saved $11,000. Moved out of the storage unit into a studio apartment that cost me $600 a month. It had a bathroom with hot water and a kitchen with a real stove. I cried the first night sleeping in an actual bed. By 21, I'd taught myself enough about business operations that I started freelancing on the side. Companies needed help streamlining their workflows, digitizing their records, setting up basic systems. I charged competitive rates and delivered faster than anyone expected. At 22, I quit my job and went full-time freelance. Scary as hell, but I'd built up 6 months of savings as a safety net. That's when things really accelerated. I had a superpower I didn't recognize until later. I understood broken systems because I'd survived within them. I knew what it felt like to have nothing, to need efficiency, to make every dollar count. That perspective made me invaluable to small businesses trying to scale. My first major client was a regional logistics company drowning in paperwork. I built them a custom database system, trained their staff, cut their processing time by 60%. They paid me $12,000 and referred me to 3 other companies. By 23, I had more work than I could handle alone. Hired my first contractor, a graphic designer named Sophie who was also clawing her way up, then a web developer, then a bookkeeper. By 25, I'd formalized into a real consulting company, rented a small office, had 5 people working for me. We specialized in operational efficiency for small to medium businesses. I was good at it. More than good, I was exceptional because I'd built my entire life around efficiency and survival. At 27, we landed our first 7-figure client. A healthcare company expanding into 3 new states needed complete operational overhaul. The project took 8 months. We delivered ahead of schedule and under budget. They paid us $450,000. I remember seeing that deposit hit my business account, sitting in my office at 11 p.m., staring at my computer screen, thinking about eating peanut butter in a storage unit, about showering at the Y, about Rita paying me cash under the table. I'd made it. Not just survived, thrived. By 29, my company had 17 employees, an office in a nice building downtown, and a client roster that included names I'd once only dreamed about. I'd bought my own apartment, paid in cash, had health insurance, had a retirement account, had savings that hit 7 figures. I'd become a millionaire, self-made, entirely on my own terms. A business podcast reached out wanting to interview me about building a company from nothing. It was a relatively small show, maybe 20,000 listeners. I almost said no. I'd kept my past private, never talked publicly about being abandoned. But something made me say yes. Maybe I was finally ready. Maybe enough time had passed. The host asked the standard questions. Biggest challenge, best advice, what I'd tell my younger self. Then, near the end, you've mentioned a few times that you started with nothing. Can you elaborate? I hesitated. Then I told the truth. All of it. The storage unit, the diner, the empty house, and the note on the counter. My family vanishing without explanation when I was 17. Building my life from absolute zero with nobody's help. I didn't cry. Didn't make it dramatic. Just stated facts in a steady voice, because that's how I'd trained myself to handle it. Compartmentalize, process, move forward. The podcast released on a Thursday. By Saturday, it had been shared 50,000 times. By Monday, over 1 million people had listened to my episode. Comments flooded in. People sharing their own stories of family estrangement, of being abandoned, of surviving impossible situations. A clip of me describing the note, "You'll figure it out," went viral on TikTok. 2 million views in 3 days. Then Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. People were calling me inspiring, brave, a survivor. I wasn't prepared for that level of exposure, but I also felt something unexpected. Validation. For 12 years, I'd carried this secret shame, this question of what I'd done wrong to make my family leave me. And now millions of strangers were saying, "That wasn't your fault. You didn't deserve that." It helped more than any therapy session ever had. Wednesday morning, 6 days after the podcast went viral, I was working from home when an email notification popped up. Subject line, "You're still our daughter." Sender, Linda, chen247@gmail.com, my mother. My hands started shaking before I even opened it. I sat there staring at my laptop screen for a full minute, cursor hovering over the email. Then I opened it. Emma, we heard your podcast. We've been following your success from a distance for a while now. We're so proud of what you've accomplished. We always knew you were capable of great things. There's so much to explain about why things happened the way they did. So much you don't understand about the circumstances we were facing. We'd love the chance to talk, to clear the air. We never stopped thinking about you. Please call when you're ready. Love, Mom. No apology. No acknowledgement of what they'd actually done. Just vague references to circumstances and a request to talk. Now that I was successful, now that I was publicly visible, now that I had money. I read it 3 times, each time feeling something different. First, shock. Second, rage. Third, a pathetic, childish hope I immediately hated myself for feeling. Before I could stop myself, I checked her Facebook profile, public account. There she was. Older, grayer, but unmistakably my mother. Her cover photo was a family picture. Her, my dad, and Michael. Recent, maybe a year old. They were smiling at someone's wedding. They looked happy, like a complete family, like I'd never existed. I slammed my laptop shut and walked away. The next day, another email. This time from Michael. Subject, I miss you. Emma, I know this is coming out of nowhere. I've wanted to reach out for years, but never had the courage. Hearing you on that podcast, hearing what you went through after we left, I had no idea it was that bad. I was only 15 when we moved. I didn't understand what was happening. They told me you wanted to stay behind, that you'd chosen to live with a friend's family, that you needed space from us. I believed them. I looked you up online over the years, saw you were doing well. I'm so proud of you, Em. You always were the smartest one in our family. Can we talk? I'd really like to fix this. Michael, I read this one 5 times, analyzing every word, looking for the angle, the manipulation, the real reason they were reaching out now after 12 years of silence. The answer came a week later. 3rd email from my father, cutting straight through the pretense. Subject, family helps family. He detailed their financial situation. Business failed. Medical debt. Michael's wife needed surgery, facing possible eviction. Then, buried in the last paragraph, we know you've done well for yourself. Family should support each other in hard times. We raised you, gave you a foundation to build from. Now we need you to help us. There it was. The real reason. Not love, not reconciliation, money. They'd waited until I was publicly, provably successful, until they knew I had the resources they needed. Then came back with their hands out, trying to frame it as family duty. I forwarded all 3 emails to my therapist, Melissa, with a subject line that just said, help. Melissa and I had an emergency session that evening. I sat in her office, leg bouncing anxiously, as she read through the emails on her tablet. What do you want to do? She finally asked. I don't know. That's why I'm here. No, Emma. I'm asking what you want. Not what you think you should do. Not what would make you the bigger person. Not what's morally right. What do you actually want? I sat with that question. Really sat with it. Part of me wants to tell them to go to hell. And another part? My voice cracked. Another part still wants them to love me, which is pathetic. It's human, Melissa said gently. You were a child when they abandoned you. That child is still inside you, still hoping her parents will finally choose her. But here's what I want you to consider. Which Emma are you making this decision for? The 17-year-old who needed her parents, or the 29-year-old who built a life without them? That question hit me like a physical blow, because she was right. The 17-year-old Emma would have forgiven anything for a chance to feel loved. But the 29-year-old Emma, she'd built something real, something they had no part in creating. I want to meet Michael, I said slowly. Just him. No parents. I need to look him in the eye and hear the truth. Okay. And if he asks for money, then I'll have my answer about why he really reached out. We arranged to meet at a neutral coffee shop in Chicago, halfway between where we both lived. I booked a hotel room for the night, took a morning flight, and spent 3 hours in my room practicing what I wanted to say. I got to the coffee shop 15 minutes early, ordered a latte I wouldn't drink, sat in the back corner where I could watch the door. At exactly 2 p.m. he walked in. Michael looked like a stranger wearing my brother's face. Heavier, balding, with tired eyes and cheap clothes. He spotted me immediately, hesitated, then walked over slowly. Emma. His voice cracked on my name. I didn't stand, didn't hug him, just gestured to the seat across from me. We sat there in awkward silence for 30 seconds that felt like an hour. "Thank you for coming," he finally said. "Tell me why you're really here, Michael." He flinched. "I wanted to see you, to apologize for the truth. Not what you think I want to hear. The actual truth." He looked down at his untouched coffee. When he spoke again, his voice was quieter. "The podcast. Hearing you describe that storage unit, the diner, being homeless. I didn't know it was like that. They told you I chose to stay behind." "I know. That's what they told everyone." I leaned forward. "Here's what I need you to understand, Michael. You were 15, not 5, old enough to have picked up a phone at some point in 12 years. So why didn't you?" Silence. Then, I was scared. Of what? Of them. Of what they'd do if I went against them. Of losing the only family I had left. He looked up, and there were actual tears in his eyes. "I'm a coward, Emma. I always have been, and I'm sorry." We talked for 2 hours. He told me about their life after they left me. The way our parents controlled everything. The verbal abuse. The manipulation. The financial dependence they engineered to keep him close. He showed me pictures of his wife, Jenny, and their 3-year-old daughter, Lily. He asked about my business, my life, seemed genuinely interested. Never directly asked for money, which surprised me. When we finally left, he hugged me. I let him, but I didn't hug back. Just stood there, arms at my sides, feeling absolutely nothing. Back at my hotel, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer. "Emma?" My mother's voice. Michael must have given her my number. "How did you get this number?" "Baby, please don't hang up. I just want to answer the question." Silence. Then, Michael gave it to me. "Emma, I heard you met with him today. I'm so glad you're open to reconnecting with family. Your father and I would love to see you too. We could drive to—" "Why did you leave me?" The question stopped her mid-sentence. For a moment, I thought she'd hung up. Then, "We were drowning financially. We couldn't afford to feed 3 people. We knew you were smart enough, capable enough to—" "I was 17, to land on your feet. We thought social services would place you somewhere better, somewhere you'd have opportunities we couldn't provide. We were doing you a favor." I laughed, actually laughed. "A favor? You thought abandoning me was a favor?" We were in an impossible situation. We had to make hard choices for the good of— I hung up, blocked her number, threw my phone across the room and screamed into a pillow until my throat hurt. The next morning, I woke up to an email from my father. No pleasantries this time, just a breakdown of their financial problems. Medical debt, failed business, Michael's wife's surgery needs, potential eviction. Then, at the end, "We need $50,000. You can afford it. It's time to help your family." Not a request, a demand, with an amount attached. I forwarded it to Melissa with the subject line, and there it is. She called me immediately, even though it was Sunday. We spent an hour on the phone while I paced my hotel room. "What do you want to do?" she asked again. "I want to set boundaries that they can't cross. I want to protect myself, and apparently Michael too. I want them to leave us alone. That's actionable. How are you going to enforce it?" I thought about that. "I'm going to tell Michael I'm open to a relationship with him and his family, but with clear terms. No money, no loans, no financial support, and no relationship with our parents until they actually apologize and take responsibility. And if he chooses them over you, then I'll have my answer." I sent the email that night. Clear, firm boundaries. Michael's response came within an hour. "I'm really disappointed, Emma. Our parents really need help. Families should support each other. You're being selfish with your success. After everything they did to raise you, you owe them this." I didn't respond, just blocked his email too. Went to Bali for 2 weeks to clear my head. When I got back, there were 11 voicemails from my father, each more desperate and angry than the last. 3 weeks later, my doorman called up to my apartment. "Ms. Chen, there's a couple here asking for you. They won't give their names." My stomach dropped. What do they look like? Older couple, maybe early 60s. The woman has gray hair, the man— "Tell them I'm not here. and add them to the list of people not allowed in the building. Of course. Are you okay? I'm fine. Thank you. 5 minutes later, my phone rang from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Emma, we drove 8 hours to see you. You're being childish. We deserve a chance to explain. We're your parents, for God's sake. You owe us at least a conversation. I deleted the voicemail and called my lawyer, Marcus. Explained the situation. He told me to document everything and consider a restraining order if they showed up again. They showed up the next morning. I heard pounding on my apartment door at 7 a.m. Checked the peephole. Them. My parents, in my hallway, somehow having gotten past building security. Emma, we know you're in there. My father's voice. Open the door. We just want to talk. My mother. Please, baby. We love you. We're sorry. Just give us 5 minutes. I sat on the floor with my back against the wall, phone in hand, ready to call 911 if they didn't leave. After 10 minutes of knocking and pleading, they finally went away. I called building security immediately. Turned out they'd tailgated behind another resident. The head of security apologized profusely and assured me they'd been permanently banned. Then I called Melissa. She came over on her lunch break, brought me a sandwich, sat with me while I shook. This is harassment, she said firmly. You need to protect yourself legally. She was right. I called Marcus again. By the end of the day, we'd filed for a restraining order. That Friday, my doorman called up again. Ms. Chen, there's a woman downstairs. She says she's your mother and she's having chest pains. I've called an ambulance. My hands went cold. Is she really having chest pains or is this... I can't tell, ma'am. But the paramedics are on their way. If she needs medical help, make sure she gets it. But I'm not coming down. An hour later, I got a call from Michael. Mom had a heart attack. She's in surgery. This is your fault for stressing her out. I hung up. Called Melissa instead. This feels like emotional manipulation, she said. Even if your mother did have a medical event, you are not responsible for her health. Get out of town for a few days. I booked a flight to Portland to stay with my friend Rachel. She'd helped me when I was homeless. Let me crash on her couch when I had nowhere else to go. I trusted her completely. When I told her everything, she was furious on my behalf. They don't deserve a minute of your time, not after what they did. Sunday night, I got an email from my dad. My mom was stable, would be released Tuesday. The email ended with, "She's asking for you. Don't you think you've punished us enough?" Punished them? Like I'd done something wrong? Tuesday morning, there were flowers outside my apartment door. The card said, "Please call us. We're staying at the Holiday Inn until Wednesday." I threw them in the trash. An hour later, my doorman called. "Ms. Chen, there's a young woman here with a small child. Says she's your sister-in-law?" I was so tired of this. "Send her up." The woman who knocked looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, holding a sleeping toddler. "I'm Jenny, Michael's wife. I came alone because I wanted to talk without the family drama." I let her in, offered water, waited for the next manipulation. Instead, she said, "I only learned about you 3 years ago. Michael told me you'd run away, cut contact. I thought it was strange but never pushed. Hearing your podcast was a shock. I confronted him and he finally told me the truth. I just listened, guard fully up. I'm horrified by what they did to you," Jenny continued. "I insisted Michael reach out, but I had no idea they were going to ask you for money. Yes, I need surgery for a thyroid condition, but we have insurance. It's your parents who are in financial trouble, not us. Why are you telling me this?" She pulled out her phone, showed me Facebook posts from years ago. My mother asking for prayers to find her troubled daughter. My father claiming I'd stolen money before disappearing. Posts about hiring investigators, checking homeless shelters. All lies, all carefully crafted to make them look like victims. "They've been lying to everyone about you," Jenny said, "creating a false narrative. When your podcast went viral, people started asking questions they couldn't answer. They're desperate to control the story, and they see you as a threat." After she left, I sat in my apartment processing everything, called Melissa, told her what Jenny had revealed. "Abusers often control the narrative," Melissa explained. "They create alternate realities where they're the victims. The fact that they're now threatening you suggests their lies are unraveling." That night, I got another email from my father. Different tone, angry, threatening. Said if I kept telling lies about them online, they'd sue me for defamation. Said they had proof I'd stolen from them. Said they'd go to the media with their version if I didn't take down the podcast and issue a public apology. Said they expected $75,000 in compensation for damage to their reputations. I forwarded it to both Melissa and Marcus. Marcus called immediately. This is an empty threat. Truth is an absolute defense against defamation. Don't respond. If they actually file something, which I doubt, I'll handle it. The next day, Michael called. I let it go to voicemail. Emma, Jenny told me she visited you. Our parents are furious. They're saying terrible things about her now too. I'm scared they're going to try something. Please call me back. On Jenny's phone, not mine. I called Marcus. He suggested meeting Michael and Jenny somewhere public with him present, just to hear them out. We met at a restaurant near Marcus's office. Michael and Jenny showed up looking stressed and scared. Jenny had a bruise on her arm she kept trying to hide. I'm Marcus, Emma's attorney, he said, which made Michael flinch. For the next hour, they told me their story. How our parents had been living off Michael for years. How they'd moved in and out of his house, taking money for emergencies, guilting him constantly. How when Jenny confronted them about me, my father had grabbed her arm hard enough to leave marks. How Michael had finally kicked them out, and now they were showing up at his work, calling constantly, making threats. They've controlled my entire life, Michael said, voice breaking. I was too scared to question their version of reality, too scared to look for you. I'm trapped in their web of lies, and now they're threatening my family. Marcus took detailed notes, asked about financial entanglements, house titles, bank accounts. Turns out my parents had co-signed Michael's mortgage, were still on his bank account from college, had keys to their house, knew all their passwords. Marcus gave them his colleague's card. Change your locks, change your passwords, change your bank accounts. Get your own lawyer, and consider your own restraining order. As we left, Michael hugged me. This time I hugged back, not forgiveness, but recognition that we were both damaged by the same people, that maybe we could help each other heal. 2 nights later, Jenny called, hysterical. They broke into our house, took Lily's baby photos, important documents, Michael's laptop. They left a note. Family matters should stay in the family. Call the police now. I'm on my way. I met them at their house. Police were there taking statements. The place was torn apart. The officer seemed skeptical that grandparents would do this, until Jenny showed him her bruised arm and the threatening texts. After the police left, Marcus arrived, looked around grimly. This changes things. Breaking and entering is serious. Document everything, and you're all staying somewhere else tonight. They're coming to my place, I said. My building has security. That night, we ate takeout in my living room. Lily played with toys. We talked about protection orders, police reports, possibly moving. It wasn't the family reunion I'd imagined, but it felt right, like we were facing the truth together. Marcus called the next morning. He'd filed emergency restraining orders for all of us. We had to appear in court next week to make them permanent. Friday afternoon, my doorman called. Flower delivery. The card says, "We know where you all are. This isn't over." I told him to refuse the delivery and call the police if they wouldn't leave. That night, after everyone was asleep, I finally let myself feel everything. Sat in my kitchen and cried into a dish towel so no one would hear. In the morning, Jenny found me making coffee. "It's okay not to be okay," she said gently. Michael cries in the shower. Lily keeps asking when we can go home. This is terrible, but I'm grateful we're facing it together. We fell into a strange routine over the next few days. Working from home, playing with Lily, jumping at unexpected noises, living in limbo between safety and fear. Friday, Marcus called. The detective found security footage from a gas station near Michael's house. Shows your parents' car there during the break-in. The restraining order hearing is Monday. I'm confident we'll get approved. Relief, but also dread, waiting for the next escalation. It came that night. A brick through Michael's car window in my parking garage. Security footage showed a man in a baseball cap, face turned from cameras. We all knew it was our father. Filed another police report. added it to our case file. Sunday night, we prepared for court. What to wear, what to say, what evidence to bring. Discussing our parents like dangerous strangers who happened to share our DNA. My phone pinged. Email from my mom. Subject: last chance. One line: if you go to court tomorrow, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. I showed Marcus. He took a screenshot. This only helps our case. Don't respond. Monday morning, we dressed in business casual. Respectable, trustworthy. Jenny arranged for a friend to watch Lily. We drove to the courthouse separately just in case. My parents were there, standing near the entrance. Looking older, smaller than I remembered. My mom saw me first, moved toward me. My dad grabbed her arm, held her back. They just stared as we walked past. Anger mixed with something that might have been fear. Inside, we waited. I could feel them sitting behind us but didn't turn around. Kept breathing, focused forward. When our case was called, Marcus presented everything. The break-in, the threats, the stalking, the history of abandonment and manipulation. The judge listened carefully, looking increasingly concerned. My parents approached without a lawyer. My dad claimed we were exaggerating, that they just wanted to reconnect, that this was a misunderstanding. The judge asked about the security footage, the threatening messages. My dad denied everything, said we were lying, said they were the victims. Then the judge asked directly, "Did you leave your minor child alone and move to another state?" My dad hesitated, started talking about financial hardship, difficult decisions. The judge cut him off. "Did you abandon your 17-year-old daughter?" Silence. Yes or no? Yes. But we thought. The judge's expression hardened. After hearing both sides, she granted our restraining orders. 3 years. No contact. No approaching our homes or workplaces. Any violation would result in immediate arrest. My parents looked stunned, like they'd never faced consequences before. As we left, my mom called my name once. Softly. I kept walking, didn't look back. Felt a weight lifting with each step. Outside, Marcus shook our hands. "You did well. These orders are solid. Call me immediately if they violate them." Michael hugged me on the courthouse steps. "I'm sorry, Emma, for everything, for not protecting you, for not finding you sooner, for believing their lies." I hugged him back. "We're going to be okay. We have each other now." That night, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. A photo of Lily playing in her friend's backyard, unaware she was being watched. Below it, "This isn't over yet." My hands shook. Showed Michael immediately. His face went white. He called Jenny, who was already on her way to get Lily. I called Marcus. He told me to forward the text, drive straight home, that he'd call police and meet us there. When police arrived, they took statements, said they'd trace the number, increase patrols. But I could tell they didn't fully grasp how dangerous my parents were. After they left, Michael suggested hiding at his cousin's house a few states away. Jenny wanted a hotel under different names. I stood up. I'm done running, done hiding, done letting them control my life through fear. They've already stolen my childhood. I'm not giving them my adulthood too. That night, we took turns keeping watch. Around 2 a.m. during my shift, I spotted their car. It circled the block 3 times before parking across the street. I took photos. Woke Michael. We watched our dad sit in his car, staring up at my building. Not approaching, technically not violating the restraining order, just letting us know he was there, watching, waiting. I sent the photos to Marcus. He said it was concerning but not technically illegal, to keep documenting everything. The next day, I did something I didn't tell anyone about. I emailed my parents. One last time. "I know you're watching my building. I know you're not going to stop, so let's talk. Tomorrow noon, the coffee shop on 8th Street. Just me. No police, no lawyers. After that, you leave us all alone forever." My dad replied within minutes. "We'll be there." I spent the rest of the day preparing mentally, thinking about what I needed to say, what boundaries I needed to set, what closure looked like. I slept surprisingly well, like making a decision had lifted a weight. The next day, I arrived 15 minutes early, chose a table where I could see the door, ordered coffee I wouldn't drink. They arrived at noon exactly, looking old and tired. They sat down slowly. like approaching a wild animal. We just looked at each other for a long moment. I spoke first. I didn't call this meeting to reconcile. I called it to make you understand one thing. It's over. You've lost. Not just the court case. You've lost me, lost Michael, lost your grandchildren. And if you can't accept that, if you keep stalking us, I will destroy you. My dad started to interrupt. I held up my hand. I'm not finished. I pulled out my phone, showed them screenshots of all their threats, the photo of Lily, the break-in evidence. I've sent copies to everyone in your lives, your siblings, your church, your neighbors. Not yet, but I will if you contact us again, if you come near our homes, if you so much as mention our names. My mom started crying. We just want our family back. We deserve another chance. I looked at her. You should have thought about that before abandoning your 17-year-old daughter, before lying to everyone about what you did, before threatening your own grandchild. My dad got angry. You're ungrateful. You've always been difficult. You turned Michael against us. You owe us. I laughed. Actually laughed. I owe you? For what? For doing the bare minimum as parents for 17 years before abandoning me. You think your parenting was so stellar I should be thanking you? He had no answer. Just sat there red-faced. I stood up. This is your last warning. Next time you violate the restraining order, I won't just call police. I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of people you are. I have resources to make your lives very difficult. I don't want to, but I will to protect my family. My real family, Michael, Jenny, Lily, the people I choose. I walked toward the door. My mom called after me. Do you really hate us that much? I stopped, turned around. I don't hate you. I feel nothing for you. You're strangers to me now, and that's your loss, not mine. They didn't contact us again after that meeting. Marcus confirmed they'd returned to their home state. The restraining orders remained in effect. We stayed vigilant but tried to move forward. Michael found a job in my city. Jenny enrolled Lily in preschool. They bought a house 20 minutes from my apartment. We started having Sunday dinners together, building new traditions, new memories, a new kind of family, based on choice rather than obligation. 6 months after the courthouse, I got a letter forwarded through Marcus, from my mother. I almost threw it away, but curiosity won. It was short, an acknowledgement of what they'd done, that they'd failed as parents, that they understood why I wanted nothing to do with them, that they were in counseling, that they would respect the restraining orders, that they hoped someday I might be willing to hear an apology, but understood if that day never came. I showed it to Michael. He got a similar letter. We talked about whether it changed anything, whether we could trust them. We didn't reach conclusions, just agreed to take it one day at a time, to prioritize our healing, to protect the family we were building. I keep the letter in my desk drawer, not because I'm ready to forgive, not because I want reconciliation, but because it represents something important. My parents finally recognizing my right to set boundaries, my right to choose who I allow in my life, my right to define family on my own terms. Last Sunday, we had Lily's 4th birthday party at my apartment, balloons everywhere, a fancy bakery cake, presents piled high, Lily running around in a princess dress, laughing, Michael grilling on my balcony, Jenny taking pictures, friends stopping by throughout the day. So much noise, so much joy. I stepped into the kitchen for a moment, watching through the doorway, Michael swinging Lily in circles, Jenny laughing with friends. My apartment, once so empty and quiet, filled with life and love. I thought about that note on the counter 12 years ago. You'll figure it out. And I did. Not the way they meant, but I figured out what family should be, what love should look like, what I deserved all along. I'm not saying everything's perfect. I still go to therapy every week, still have nightmares sometimes, still flinch at unexpected doorbells, trust issues that may never fully heal. But I'm building something new from the broken pieces, something stronger, something chosen, something real. People ask if I'll ever reconcile with my parents, if I'll let them meet Lily, if I'll forgive them. I don't have answers yet. Maybe someday, maybe never. But what I do know is this. I'm not defined by what they did to me anymore. I'm defined by what I built after, by the person I chose to become, by the family I chose to create. and that's worth more than any apology they could ever give.